Mel is 100% hiding something from all of us, including Ken, but Mud will betray us. For sure. What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Animated Cartoon Conspiracy Theory, where me and the boys will cement ya if you don't hit that subscribe button or even that like button. Capiche? Now then, the Gaslight District is one of the most impressive indie animated shows to come out as of this year. It has action, drama, and of course, comedy. It's not a secret that I love indie animation and that I actually want to create my own shows and other things in the future. So the Gaslight District ends up being an inspiration to not only me, but a lot of people that's out there as well. But today we'll actually be taking a dark turn about how we can't trust Mel, what the butcher could be hiding, and how Mud will betray us all. And for all of this to make more sense, make sure you check out the pilot. It's on YouTube, it's for free, and it's there. Go ahead and check it out. So if you haven't already, make sure you save this for later, share with a friend, and of course follow here and everywhere, because this ride is about to get bumpy. So how can we be so sure that there is actually something up with Mel? Well, for starters, she is a part of the Smiling Dead, even though she's the only human in the whole world. And you have to take this quite literally, because in the episode, it tells us multiple times that she is the only human, accompanied by the fact that she is the only one to get hurt. And that's because in this world, everybody became corrupt, and everybody also worships this thing called the Black Hand. And in doing so, everybody can live forever. Nobody experiences death, but they all experience pain and regenerate, except for Mel, who also fits the prophecy about a person having black blood, and that person that has black blood is also the human, which she fits all the criteria for. But what's weird about Mel is that she has a strange origin, because it wasn't until part 3 of the Angel Egg scheme that we learn a lot of important information. Because not only does Ken have a history in Paradise Lost, so does Mel. And while the whole point of the Angel Egg scheme is to destroy an egg that looks like the human egg so that way she can live fine within the society, it's pretty obvious that Mel has ulterior motives, or at least knows something that everybody else doesn't. Because when both Mel and Ken decide to go to their respective rooms, it's almost like they've been here before. Mel climbs up the stairway to heaven, while Ken the Butcher sees an old buddy that may have betrayed him in the past. This is the virtue known as temperance. Now, while I could talk all day about the thing that temperance is working on, there's a whole video covering that in a short form, so make sure you check that out. But I want everybody to notice something that nobody has seemingly talked about while Mel is walking up the stairway to heaven. While she's going up the steps, there is a disembodied virtue guard helmet. And when she walks past it, she waves her hand over it, almost like she knows exactly what it does, because it lights a fire around. Why would Mel know exactly what this does? This seems like a tomb. This seems like some sort of burial ground, a memorial even. Not to mention that whenever there's an angel around, Mel is the only one to notice that they exist, almost like she knows what they do. That's when I asked the question, who gave Mel all of the inside details to Paradise Lost? Now, I actually believe that it's a combination of her remembering parts of her home, but also some information that she got from Jack the Rat. I mean, it's part of his name, he's Jack the Rat, so it's very obvious that he probably went and infiltrated the place for her prior to her accidentally exposing herself as a human in front of Jack. This would not only explain why there's candid photos of the virtue guards just hanging around, but also somebody with the know-how to basically explore every inch and cranny of Paradise Lost. This doesn't explain why Mel knows of heaven and why this virtue guard memorial is so important. This is where Ken comes in. His part of the story will actually help to flesh it out. So with Ken, we do know that he's the big boss of the Smiling Friends, but his deep-seated hatred of the virtues is pretty much evident even before they do the Angel Egg scheme, as it's shown that he's not only sent to the infernal prison, but also the deepest part, the part that is reserved for traitors. In that same vision, we do get a glimpse that Temperance might have walked him down there, because in another short where we decipher some tablets, it's stated that virtues basically walk down their prisoner all the way down to the level that they're supposed to go to. They are to be pew-pewed in the head and left for dead. But if that's the case, then how did he get out? Well, it's also stated in those tablets that if they are found innocent, although unlikely, they would be taken back up into limbo. This explains his deep-seated hatred for the virtues, because he was accused of something that he did not do. Now, Temperance is known to be the one that basically makes all of the heaven's prophecies come true, including the Angel Egg and the Mecha Pope. Now, we won't be getting into the Mecha Pope here. There's also another short that explains everything there. But the thing about this is that Temperance is always creating the things that are supposed to end the world. One of those things being Mel herself, which is shown to us when Ken basically burns all of the evidence. Well, you might want to notice that when Temperance first seen Ken, he says, "Hold on, I haven't told anybody yet, please reconsider your options." Basically telling us that Temperance made some type of deal with Ken, that probably being that he gives him the human egg. But Ken still being hurt by what Temperance did to him and what the virtues have done to him essentially makes him rage out. But this still doesn't explain why Mel knows about this dead virtue. Well, I think I have an answer, and you might want to listen close because I'm about to blow your brains. Mel is actually a Frankenstein virtue, and a part of Ken was actually used in the process of making her. And if you're wondering what this image is behind me, this is an image that was shown at the very beginning of the episode. If you slow it down frame by frame, you can see this image accompanied with another message that is basically illegible. So I'm not going to touch on it here because it's just that hard to read. But this image right here is displayed right over Mel, as if to show that she is not entirely human, but instead a makeshift person. Because it's very possible, like what we presume is the mecha pope that he's building, it took a part of Ken's DNA, possibly whoever this virtue is that is on the staircase's DNA, making Mel part virtue and part rotling. But I can hear you asking, how can I be so sure that she is just half and half? Well, when Ken is burning all of the information after he handles temperance, there's this little decipherable code at the very corner. It's a piece of paper. But I couldn't decipher it all the way, and luckily somebody else known as Cartoon Universe has basically done that for us, so thank you and shout out to them. Now then, everybody assumes that it says installation process, and basically lists instructions on how to create a virtue. But I'd like to actually beg to differ that it's not an installation process, but actually an absolution process. Because explicitly in that instruction pamphlet, it says the virtue oath: bash and capture guardian angel. After devourment, brain shall be placed within porcelain prison. Your flesh and change will be forgiven. This isn't necessarily about becoming a virtue, it's about being forgiven. And the only part of you that's being forgiven is actually your flesh. Mel having the forgiven flesh of a virtue, being born of an angel, and also having some DNA connection to Ken makes her a human. And all of this leads us down to one thing. How will Mud betray us? Now, Mud happens to be a fan favorite of a lot of the fans. The thing about him is that he has allegiance to no one and is all about that coin. He quite literally chokes on it. Behind his nonchalant, smooth-talking ways, he is very much somebody not to be trusted. Maybe that's a good thing. But hear me out. When we first get introduced to the Smiling Dead and they are hunting down Jack the Rat, he seemingly enjoys his job sniping him from very far away. But the thing about it is, literally questions Ken while on the job. He literally asks, "Why are we going after Jack?" To which he says, "I really like Jack." And Ken basically shies away because he knows the truth. But this is pretty important because Mud is super excited that he can finally earn enough money to specifically buy a bed instead of sleeping on a meat hook. And this is very much important for what happens next, because towards the end of the episode, the person who saves Jack from the sea is probably Mud. And we can assume that this is actually Mud because this looks exactly like a meat hook. This means that Mud will learn the truth because he's also still kept out of the dark about her being a human. This might cause a rift between Ken and Mud. In fact, he might actually become a villain. But what do you think? Is that a coincidence? I think not. And if you like videos like these, make sure you follow here and everywhere because there's more videos like this coming soon. And of course, why don't you check out some of the other videos that's on the channel as well? Maybe how we can't trust Elliot because he's his own victim, or maybe check out the true reason why the androids don't get tired in Dragon Ball Z. Otherwise, I'll see you in another video. Bye-bye. Don't trust Elliot because he's not only an unreliable narrator, but he's also his own victim.